Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 159 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng looked far ahead amongst the crowd. The Flying Cloud Pavilion owner was at the side discussing with a tall and sturdy intrepid-looking general by the side. Luo Feng could feel from his aura that the general should be a universe level 9. Rockwind General, they are all here, the owner said. Rockwind Jean snorted through his nose, following which he gazed coldly at the crowd. Rockwind Jean. Amongst the crowd, Luo Feng was happy after he heard it. He was still prepared to figure out how this Rockwind Jean looked like, so as not to attack the wrong person. And now, he could see him clearly. Last night, which one of you broke into the Pure Feather family mansion? Rockwind Jean shouted coldly. The group of close to 1,000 unknown people remained silent, not making any sound at all. And Rockwind Jean, who sat high above on his green-armored snake, gazed at everyone below. Suddenly he pointed at a black-robed cold-looking man in the distance, shouting, "That black-robed bastard, bring him along later." Yes, the two deputy generals at the side complied. General. The black-robed cold-looking man's expression grew ugly, shouting, "General, I'm from the Luonyang area. Don't give me rubbish." Rockwind Jean laughed coldly. "With your strength and your dressing, I have no choice but to suspect that you were the culprit who broke into the Pure Feather family mansion. That tall punk with messy hair, bring him too, that skinny punk hiding at the side too. You? Him? The one in the white robe? That blue-haired one?" Rockwind Jean continuously chose 10 people. These 10 were all very strong, as most of them were in the pinnacle sky level. There were even 2 universe levels. And that black-haired youth, his strength is strong enough too. Bring him. Rockwind Jean pointed at Luo Feng. Luo Feng frowned, as there were no scanning devices in Blood River World. They based their deductions purely on energies and auras. As for Luo Feng, he used his willpower and consciousness strength to control and hide his strength, deliberately releasing one that of a pinnacle star level. He didn't expect to still get chosen. All right. A total of 58 have been chosen. The culprit might very likely be within these 58. Take them all away back to the prison. Rockwind Jean waved his hand. Luo Feng didn't resist and followed the other 57 with the army. In terms of strength, Luo Feng knew that he could easily wipe out Rockwind Jean and the others. Because of his confidence and this guarantee, he was very relaxed. Until the critical moment, there was no need to massacre so many of them publicly. What's up with this General Rockwind? Is this how they catch a killer? Coming over to our Flying Cloud Pavilion to find a group of guests and randomly picking from a crowd, that's called finding a killer. You idiot, Rockwind General is from the Rockwind family. The Pure Feather family was humiliated, hence the Rockwind family are all extremely happy. Why would they seriously look for the culprit? If they really wanted to look for him, they would have begun their search last night. Why would they wait till now? It's purely just for show, just an act. However, the 58 sure are unlucky. Within Flying Cloud Pavilion, many were discussing Swallow Mound City, General's Prison. Luo Feng and the others were forced into groups of 5 or 6, and were separately crammed into cells. These cells were built by special stones from Blood River World, and were able to exist under the universe energy flows and strong gravity here. Hence, these two were more sturdy than other stones. They were strong enough to block attacks from even a sky-level, star-level warrior. We sure are unlucky. I have to go meet my family leader tomorrow. How can this be good? Luo Feng's cell had a total of 6 people, of which a fat one dressed in expensive clothes sighed and shouted loudly. The others from different cells all heard him clearly. Big trouble, big trouble. The fatty didn't stop sighing. Shut up. Smelly fatty, lower your voice. The people from other cells all began to jeer and shout within. The fatty looked outside at the soldiers approaching, raising his voice and sighing again. If I don't see the Wang family leader, my business would be ruined. I would incur huge losses. So unlucky, purely a disaster from above. After shouting a couple more times, under the jeers from others, he finally stopped. Luo Feng stood silently within the cell, watching things unfold. Several of the guards and soldiers within the prison began to mutter. Brothers, the general captured these 58 back for show. He didn't even interrogate them. He even sent a bodyguard over to tell me, that after interrogating just a little, if there's no problem, just let some of them go and leave some in the prison. Everything is just for show. A guard said softly, "Did you hear that fatty shouting? He seems to be some sort of businessman, and is in a rush to meet someone. We should get a hefty sum from him, it's an opportunity. After all, it's all just for show, it'll be fine with some of them gone." The group of guards watching the prison all began to laugh and mutter amongst themselves. After which they ordered, "Go and grab that fierce and shouting fatty, and bring him over. We'll interrogate him well." "Yes, Lord." The group of soldiers immediately brought the fatty out. Within the prison, the fatty that was leaning against the door looking outside revealed a smile, as he saw the group of soldiers running over. One of the soldiers ordered, "The Lord has ordered for us to interrogate you well, grab him." Following which they opened the door and grabbed the fatty. The fatty turned back to the other 5 in the cell and said, "Sirs, I'll be leaving first, see you all." Following which, he followed the group of soldiers and left. After a while, a soldier ran over and shouted, "The Lord has interrogated him and found him not suspicious at all, he's been released. The rest of you 57 better answer properly. Those that don't, be prepared to stay in this prison for a while." Following which he turned and left. The fatty has gone. Answer properly. What answer properly? Isn't it simply bribing them well? I know, that fatty purposely shouted that way before. You know this only now. Stupid. Discussions and noise resounded within the cells. The guards who were hiding in the distance heard the discussions and all of them began to smile. They then ordered, "Bring them one by one, we'll interrogate them properly." Interrogate. It was simply just forking over a sum of money, just seeing whether it was enough. When they interrogated Luo Feng took out 1 purple blade currency, immediately making the guards' eyes gleam. Their attitudes immediately became friendly, and quickly released Luo Feng. Broad daylight, Luo Feng strolled out of the general's prison carefree, and followed the pathways out of the mansion. Evening, the sky had gone dark. Luo Feng, who was at a restaurant eating and drinking alone for a while, finally left and walked amongst a crowd in Swallow Mound City's pathways. It's almost time. Last night, I caught Pure Feather Chong. Then tonight, I'll go catch Rockwind Jean. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. I'm really looking forward to the Blood River Crystal. Just what is it like? It is even mysterious enough to gain the attention of the Virtual Universe Company. As he had been brought to the general's prison earlier in the day, Luo Feng was very familiar with the general's mansion. It's no wonder the Rockwind family is considered a new upstart family. This general's mansion, in terms of security level, isn't even 1/10 of the Pure Feather family's. Luo Feng walked within the mansion. Almost like walking in his own yard, his silhouette floated about. With a flash he went from side to side, shaking his head. I can feel a total of 3 universe-level warriors. With his familiarity of the universe space ripples, he could feel 3 strong auras. And one of which Luo Feng was familiar with, because he had met him during the day. It's Rockwind Jean. Luo Feng smiled. His silhouette floated swiftly, as he passed the fake mountains and the walkways, finally landing within a 3-story luxurious palace within the mansion. Breaking through to the domain level is so hard. I've done everything my big brother has told me to do in terms of training, and I've done them well. Why have I still not broken through? HMPH, Big Brother must definitely be afraid of me reaching the domain level, and turning into a threat for him. Rockwind Jean was topless. He was wearing an open long robe, while walking along the stairs, he had many thoughts on his mind. When he reached the 3rd level, he casually looked up and prepared to enter his study, however suddenly his body shook. His eyes were filled with a sense of disbelief. In front of him, stood a simply dressed black-haired youth's silhouette. Rockwind Jean immediately went into battle mode, simultaneously calling guards to help him. However, no matter how shocked he was still confident. He thought that because he was a cloud-level pinnacle, universe level 9, warrior, the person before him couldn't be much stronger than he was. Also, delaying a while would be enough for his big brother Rockwind Jean to rush over. Luo Feng, who was initially standing at the distant window, immediately appeared before Rockwind Jean, in what seemed like teleportation. This was extremely fast, far exceeding that of a regular universe level 9's max speed. His hand formed a blade, fast as lightning. No, Rockwind Jean's hands had brandished a huge blade. He was prepared to use it as a shield to block. However, Luo Feng's palm blade was almost like an illusion, swiftly stabbing through his stomach, after which he pulled it out. Only after this did the shield slowly come. Everything was mysterious and like an illusion, there was just a simple flash. Illusionary 7 blades, Dutchman's pipe. With Luo Feng's strength in his domain and origin law comprehension, against such weak techniques with domain only level 1 or 2, no comprehension of any origin laws and only at universe level 9, it was simply a massacre. Rockwind Jean held onto his stomach. There was a blade wound there, and fresh blood flowed out. It was purely from Luo Feng's palm blade. Rockwind Jean looked with fear at Luo Feng. His dantian was destroyed. And his spirit was under the powerful pressure of Luo Feng's spirit energy. Hence, he couldn't even use any spirit energy now. How do you do, Rockwind General? Luo Feng smiled and looked at Rockwind Jean. Rockwind Jean's mind flashed back at Flying Cloud Pavilion. That scene, right, this black-haired youth, wasn't he from the 58 people he had picked? It's you. Rockwind Jean stared wide-eyed. My God. He was only acting and pretending to catch a few punks to satisfy the Pure Feather family. He didn't expect to actually catch such a terrifying character. Rockwind Jean's eyes gleamed, shouting, Pure Feather Chong, you abducted him too. Right, he's already dead. Luo Feng smiled. Dead? Rockwind Jean's expression was ugly. Pure Feather Chong is already dead. This man before him would most likely kill him too. What to do, now that his dantian was destroyed, he had no energy within. And on top of that, his soul was being suppressed by the enemy's powerful pressure. He wanted to resist and communicate with others to cry for help, but he had no way at all to do so. What could he do? Rockwind Jean's expression was ugly, he was in a mess. What can I do for him not to kill me? Rockwind Jean looked at the black-haired youth before him. Speak, whatever you want, I'll do it. Give me 10 Blood River crystals and I won't kill you. Luo Feng stood there and smiled, can you do that? Rockwind Jean couldn't help but stare wide-eyed. 10 crystals. Even my big brother cannot take out 10 crystals like that. However, I have one here, which I can give you. Please spare my life. Even though his dantian was destroyed, he was still alive, since the most important part of a human was his soul. As long as the soul was fine, the body could recover, and the lost energy could also be retrained. No, one is not enough, it has to be 10 crystals. Luo Feng shook his head. You are playing with me. Rockwind Jean was anxious and angry. Right, I'm just playing around with you. Luo Feng said indifferently, go and die. Rockwind Jean immediately roared madly. Save me. His powerful body made his roar thunderous and booming. The sound waves rippled in all directions, however they were all blocked by a formless powerful spirit energy barrier. This spirit energy blocked off everything, not even a whisper could escape. What's the point of struggling? Luo Feng slapped Rockwind Jean's forehead. His genetic energy pierced into his head, causing his brain to become nothing but a mess. Rockwind Jean was dead. Just what is the Blood River crystal like? Luo Feng scanned through his body, and immediately found the space item. With no banks on Blood River continent, all of the warriors here mostly stored large amounts of their treasures in their space items, and carried them on their bodies. This was because it was safest there. As long as they don't die, they wouldn't lose their treasures. And if they did die, the treasures wouldn't mean anything to them. This space ring isn't bad. Luo Feng grabbed the space ring, and his spirit energy immediately rushed in, prying it open, and checking the contents inside. So wealthy. He had about 10 times more than the 13 acts. Luo Feng was still smiling initially. However, the more he searched, the more he began to frown. There were large amounts of currency within, along with some valuable weapons and treasures in many boxes. However, his initial scan didn't pick up any Blood River crystal. The appearance of the crystal was something he had seen before in the common knowledge books. There's no way he doesn't have it. What if it's not on his body? No way. Luo Feng searched again carefully, especially within a box of gems. There were many crystals within. Luo Feng split his spirit energy into 1,000 threads, and individually inspected each of them. Immediately, a smile appeared on his face. With a flip of his hand, a round black crystal appeared in his palm. Looking at this crystal before him, Luo Feng shook his head. This Rockwind Jean, he even disguised the Blood River crystal and threw it in with the rest of the gems. Anyone who doesn't search properly with spirit energy would have missed it. The black round crystal in his palm was attacked by needle-like spirit energy. It immediately began to split open. Very quickly, the layer of black broke and it finally revealed the blood river crystal within. Blood red. Blood red in color, the color of life. It was a long triangular crystal, transparent and blood red, glowing slightly, with a formless ripple about it. It gave off a faint feeling of a heart beating, ripples that beat after another. Blood river crystal. Luo Feng looked at the triangular transparent crystal in his palm. He couldn't help but exclaim, beautiful. He waved his hand and Rockwind John's body on the floor vanished, followed by the blood stains and smell of blood in the air all vanished as well. Very good, within a short time, no one will ever know that Rockwind John is already dead. Luo Feng smiled. I think that they would have thought Rockwind John must have headed to somewhere else. Warriors secluding themselves, or disappearing for 1 or 2 years, was a very normal thing. Even though he was a general, disappearing for 3 to 5 days wasn't a thing to be suspicious of. Luo Feng became a blur and rushed out from the window, disappearing hundreds of kilometers away in an instant. The entire palace was silent. The large amounts of soldiers, staff and guards within the general's mansion all didn't know that their general was already dead. At the same time that Luo Feng had killed Rockwind John and acquired the Blood River Crystal. Within Swallow Mound City Leader's mansion. Come, drink. Ha ha, Rockwind Jr. We haven't seen each other in so long, and you've already become a city leader. Your seniors are really happy, drink, drink. Within the living room, a group of beautiful women were dancing. 3 men were laughing loudly and drinking their wine, one of which was Swallow Mound City's person with the most authority, city leader Rockwind Xiong. The other 2 were dressed in grey standard armor. Senior, I've only become a city leader. How can I compare to you? You've become a special envoy of the Undying Shrine. No matter where in our continent, who would dare disrespect you? Rockwind John laughed loudly. It's nothing. The handsome middle-aged man laughed. Senior, you and Special Envoy Mo, for what reason have you 2 rushed over from the Undying Shrine for? Rockwind John asked curiously. The handsome middle-aged man and Special Envoy Mo beside glanced at each other. Envoy Mo spoke, Brother Rockwind, it's not that we don't want to tell you, it's just the Undying Shrine's rules. Hence, we cannot disobey. Actually we rushed over this time is mainly because of your master, also the leader of the world city. We cannot say anything else. As it is something regarding your master, I arranged for old Mo to come along as well. Since we passed by your place, naturally we had to come pay you a visit. The handsome middle-aged man smiled. I've missed you too. Rockwind John exclaimed, speaking of which. When Rockwind John was accompanying his 2 friends and chatting, he didn't even know that his younger brother had already died. 300,000 kilometers away from Swallow Mound City, in the wilderness, Luo Feng Saturday. 1 Blood River Crystal. Luo Feng grabbed the Blood River Crystal and stared at the incomparably mysterious crystal. One of the dangerous level missions was to acquire this 1 crystal to get 10,000 points. I can use it to exchange for points, or I can absorb it. What should I do? Without a doubt. Luo Feng began to grin as his finger became like a blade, slicing his left palm. A slash wound opened and fresh blood flowed out. Luo Feng took a deep breath and placed this triangular blood river crystal within that wound. This was the absorption technique from the books he had read, and during his time in the city, he had heard others discuss. Almost everyone in the entire Blood River continent knew this. Although the method was simple, doing it was hard. Is it going to be difficult? Luo Feng looked at his palm. The beautiful and glaring crystal touched and began to fuse with the wound. Especially when it first touched the wound, immediately a formless peculiar energy burst forth from the crystal. Almost like a wild beast that had been suppressed for too long raging and rushing into Luo Feng's body. The originally confident Luo Feng's expression changed, he began to struggle. Damn. Luo Feng grit his teeth. Rumble. A formless incredibly brutal and powerful willpower descended on him, fusing with his consciousness. Kill. Kill. An endless stream of wild shouts to kill roared within his mind. That formless brutal and powerful willpower was clashing time and again with his own. It was purely a test of willpower. Willpower differed from each other. Consciousness was something that was linked to the strength of one's spirit energy, willpower however was reliant completely on one's belief and strength. A student level's willpower could potentially be as terrifying as that of a sector lord. Just this level of willpower and you want to attack me? Within his mind Luo Feng thought, return to ashes. Rumble. Luo Feng's incredibly strong willpower was like a huge mountain, immediately smashing down on the roaring outside willpower influence. At the same time, Luo Feng thought curiously, consciousness pressure, use consciousness to attack. How can pure willpower invade my body like that? How strange. Not good. Rumble, as its willpower was smashed by Luo Feng's, the blood river crystal's true peculiar energy was unleashed. That red crystal's threads began to madly invade Luo Feng. Luo Feng's body couldn't help but begin to shake and tremble. Luo Feng's facial muscles were spasming uncontrollably. The layers of skin contracted and condensed at times while splitting open and bleeding at another. His arms expanded even more violently, and his veins were more visible than ever. It looked almost like transparent crystal pathways, and occasionally purely gold. His muscles kept changing. Pain. Extreme pain. What's going on? Just what is this blood river crystal doing? Luo Feng roared within. He could feel the temperature in his body reach unbelievable heights, almost like it was about to be burnt to ashes. However, in an instant it would drop to shocking lows. It became so cold that he couldn't even feel his body. Luo Feng's 10 fingernails extended, almost like metal fingernail blades. After which it swiftly retracted back, and his 10 fingers began to change. Even the bones were changing within. His entire hand began to resemble claws, and fur started sprouting out around them. Not just his fingers, even on his arms, legs, feet, and face, the black fur grew all over. At that moment, Luo Feng looked like a Sasquatch. However, a few minutes later the fur quickly retracted and vanished. Black scales began to pop out from his arms, fingers, legs, feet and even his face. His entire body became huge and powerful. Just what is this blood river crystal? My God. No matter how strong his imagination was, Luo Feng would never have expected anything like this to happen. And the process of absorption was still going on. Night time, the wind was like blades blowing strong in the vast wilderness, and hiding in the wild grass was a faint silhouette. The robes on his body were already torn into shreds. However, below the shreds was a strong body with skin that was emitting white energy. Inhale. Luo Feng took a deep breath while sitting cross-legged. His chest sank in and the stomach expanded, almost as though there was a large balloon within his stomach. This balloon then shifted upwards and his stomach contracted and his chest expanded. After which, the huge bulge separated into 4 portions, heading towards Luo Feng's 2 arms and 2 legs. Bulges appeared through his skin. It was incredibly peculiar. Exhale. Luo Feng let out a long breath before opening his eyes. I've finally made it through. Luo Feng was shocked within. Pain. Under immense pain, Luo Feng could endure almost anything easily. However, the absorption feeling earlier, it was something he really didn't like. Because, besides the extreme pain, the most uncomfortable thing was that Luo Feng's own soul and consciousness couldn't control his own body. Losing the ability to control his body, this was a feeling he had never felt before. No matter what, this type of feeling is finally over. Luo Feng tore off the shredded clothes and carefully examined his body. No matter what angle he looked at least from the exterior, there didn't seem to be any difference at all, compared to before the absorption of the crystal. During the absorption itself, his body constantly morphed into things he had never seen before. It shouldn't be. Luo Feng frowned. I'll test it. Luo Feng gazed into the distance, spirit energy. Rumble, the distant wilderness big piece of land that was at least 10 million tons immediately floated up. Also, with the spirit energy wrapped about the entire piece, there was no leakage at all. Under Luo Feng's control, this mountain of mud flew in mid-air and in a round arc about. No difference. When it come to invasiveness, emptiness, flexibility, toughness, my spirit energy has no difference from before, my consciousness and willpower has no difference either. Luo Feng shook his head. The piece of land revolving in the dead of night immediately fell from the air and smashed back into the crater from before. My soul wasn't affected, how about the body? Luo Feng frowned, suddenly throwing out a punch. Rumble. With that punch, a high-pressured shockwave was formed, causing an explosion in air. The terrifying ripple cut through the grass, completely clearing out a few kilometers in area around him. No difference. Luo Feng squinted his eyes. Ripples of energy vibrated all over his skin. All the strength in his muscles was immediately sent to his right hand, which was formed into a fist. Luo Feng had transferred all his strength into that instantaneous explosion, resulting in that ear-piercing explosion as he punched. I felt it. Within the depths of my cells, there's a change. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with a sense of glee. This is an evolution of life. Every time a flesh and blood life form breaks through, there would be an evolution. Breaking through to Star Traveler, to Star Level, to Universe Level, the rest of the leveling was simply quantity-based training. My body is still Universe Level 9. I haven't broken through. However, my bones, muscles, and every cell within has had some change. Luo Feng was excited and anxious within, because every evolution from each breakthrough from Star Traveler to Sector Lord level, none of the 5 breakthroughs were normal. The books had said the evolution was mysterious, and this wasn't exaggerated at all. However, the changes deep within his cells, even with Luo Feng's spirit energy, he couldn't fully deduce them clearly. There's no other way. I can only gradually get used to it. I will have to learn to feel it, and slowly understand its changes. Luo Feng thought, following which he looked at the night sky. Su. He rushed up and immediately broke through the cloud levels until the 12th level. I'll investigate the mysteries of my body's changes here in the clouds. Luo Feng brandished a blood shadow blade and practiced in the clouds. Swallow Mound Flying Cloud Pavilion, Luo Feng's quarters. Even though he had continuously killed 2 prominent figures in Swallow Mound City, Luo Feng was still carefree and training in his quarters. As he was worried he might destroy the pavilion, hence he purposely used spirit energy to create a barrier around, and he trained within. Any ripples his fists caused were completely blocked by this barrier. He could train both his spirit energy and train recklessly within. Mysterious. Mysterious indeed. He could already feel the initial changes of the Blood River Crystal's mysteries. He was very excited. Suddenly, he stopped and looked through the window outside. There were 2 people walking over, Nabu and Eneku, father and son duo. I'll take a break now. The gleeful Luo Feng walked to the 1st level. At the same time, Nabu and Eneku had just walked into the yard. Lord Feng. Come in. Luo Feng smiled and sat down. He lifted a wine glass and poured a glass of Blood River World's wine for himself and was sipping. A chill permeated through his entire body. He smiled comfortably. Why have you rushed over here so early? We heard that Lord Feng was taken into General Rockwind's prison. This kid was so nervous that he jumped up and down after. So I accompanied him to visit you in the prison, only to find out that you had already left. The silver-haired Nabu smiled, hence, today we thought we'd come pay you a visit early. Lord Feng, if you have any troubles or matters in the future, please call us. Even though I may not be able to solve some big issues, however, when it comes to most trivial matters in Swallow Mound City, I'm able to help you settle them. Thanks. Luo Feng smiled, however there's nothing much now. Eneku. Eneku replied, his expression wasn't too happy. What's the matter? Luo Feng smiled. Nabu could see this mysterious warrior was in a good mood today. He smiled and explained, this kid is having some trouble in the relationship department, hence his sulking today. Relationship troubles. Luo Feng laughed loudly. Eneku, you've fallen out of love. What's falling out of love? Eneku looked up at Luo Feng. It means you like someone, but she doesn't like you back. Luo Feng lifted the glass and sipped happily. Right? Nabu smiled beside, rubbing his son's head. His son however dodged unhappily. Nabu laughed, the other party doesn't like him. Actually speaking of which, Eneku did give a new lease of life to that girl. Just thinking about the matter makes me want to laugh. New lease of life? Luo Feng was shocked. Father. Eneku was unhappy. Nabu just smiled and explained, my son has had a kind heart from young. He likes to bring his guards to bars and other places, to listen to stories of other strong warriors. He worships these heroes, hence he acts like these heroes sometimes. Almost like robbing the rich for the poor, he would give his family's money secretly to the poor. One of the poor families only has a mother and a daughter. My son has been secretly helping them since she was young. After that, she grew up and got older. I don't know how, but my son actually fell for that poor family's daughter. Luo Feng starred. Ads by Pub Future. Helping the poor, helping till he actually falls for the poor family's girl. Eneku was blushing. Not just that. My son has always been secretly giving money to the mother of that girl. Funding the girl. Nabu shook his head. When that girl actually tried to enter one of the sects in our city, my son immediately gave a large amount of money secretly to that mother. And just like that poor family's daughter, from a poor little girl, she became a genius warrior of that sect. Secretly, my son had been supporting her for 12 years. What happened after that? Luo Feng was curious. My son secretly liked that girl, hence he too joined that sect. Nabu shook his head. It's a pity, just yesterday, he went to confess and was rejected. Luo Feng laughed happily. Eneku looked angrily at his father. Your father cannot speak a few words with Lord Feng. Nabu stared at his son. Eneku could only look down, his ears all red. And not just that. Nabu said, if things still aren't interesting enough, just as my son got rejected and walked towards the exit, his spirit dejected. That girl's mother actually came to the sect to visit her daughter. Seeing my son, this gets exciting. That mother actually hugged my son and expressed her gratitude. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. That girl ran over. Seeing the situation, she was extremely curious and asked her mother about this benefactor. Her mother told her the truth, saying how my son had been helping them all this while. Nabu laughed loudly at this. The girl was stunned, and she couldn't even believe it initially, saying Eneku wasn't even 20 years old, and it doesn't make sense, because the support started over 10 years ago. Her mother said, back then, a little rich kid under the protection of guards secretly gave them money, and she had watched as the little rich kid slowly grew up. Nabu exclaimed, who would have thought a little kid's playful attitude actually produced such a scene? What happened after? Luo Feng laughed and asked curiously, how did that girl react to Eneku? That girl had backbone, she was very grateful. Nabu said, she told my son directly, I'm willing to repay my debt to you for my family as your slave, even if you wish, I'll marry you. That's a pleasant surprise. Luo Feng laughed. It's not over. Nabu laughed loudly. My son asked her modestly, do you like me? That girl said, my mind is set on the martial arts, and there's no one I fancy. However, the debt I owe to you, I have no other way to repay. Nabi said, after the girl finished, my son said directly, I, Eneku, will never force anyone. If you don't like me, then I won't force you. After which, this son of mine, he turned and brought his guards away with him. Ha ha, as Nabu finished, he couldn't help but laugh loudly once again. Interesting, interesting. Luo Feng laughed too. Father. The youth Eneku was blushing red, angry and embarrassed. Not bad, Eneku, not bad. Luo Feng laughed and complimented. Eneku gripped his fists and said seriously, I won't force anyone. However, there will come a day that I will make her like me. He said that as he looked up, filled with resolve. Good resolve. Luo Feng couldn't hold back his laughter anymore, and laughed with Nabu once again. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.